Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's special edition of Beyond the Ordinary show. There's going to be a big reveal on today's call. I just found out about it, and I am so excited about what's coming through. And I have an awareness of what that's going to do to activate all of us in our own unique way in a promissory field where we get to embrace parts of ourselves that are ready to really demonstrate themselves in ways that perhaps the expression hasn't evolved as fully as we're capable of. It's going to be a powerful call with Jewels Arnes, and Jules has been on the show lots of times. She's a consistent, just expansionary teacher and guest. And today we're going to be talking about Astra Luma, the DNA wave function of source embodiment. And we're going to get into what that is, but you're going to join this call. And I'm going to ask a couple of things of you. I'm going to ask that you help us in your service to hold a field of expansion that we're all attuning into. I'm going to ask you to sit back and relax in your capacity to do that and simultaneously receive. And I'll ask if you choose to do it, let's have fun together in this exploration. Um, and it's with that, Jules, I want to welcome you to today's edition. Welcome back.
Thank you, John. I'm so happy to be here and excited to see where this call goes.
I'm excited to see where it's going to go also. I have a glimpse of what's coming through, y'all. Again, this is going to be pretty special. Um, I want to reverse back into what we're going to jump into. And I'd love it if we really get started on how you began expressing your work out into people that you're serving. How was that translating? What type of tools were you sharing and why? And how it's gotten to this point of a metamorphosis that you're ready for the next evolution of what's coming through.
Yeah, so gosh, my journey, it's not really knowing that this is when it started. I was back at age 5 when I called them the blue men. It's that they were just really tall, white blue beings. There's no facial expressions. They're just really tall, but they have these really long fingers that have little knobs or nodes, you could say, at the end of their fingertips. And when I was young, they gave me the 3 symbols that I use in the quantum technology that I teach. And it was the first time that I had the experience of it. And when they first brought it, they would run it through my body, specifically through the third eye, and reprogrammed the brain. They kind of were in and out my whole entire life. And when I started healing at a really young age, I had my Reiki master by the time I was 17, I think. And
Wow.
every time I would lay somebody on the table, they would come into the room. And so I was very used to having them around. There was never really any talk, though. Way back, they said at some point, I would know what to do, and that it would have to do with the activation of the light body. And of course, I didn't even know what that was then. I kind of put it to the side. Well, the journey just kept continuing, and it was, I would say, when they really came back strong was right after I had healed myself from my spine injury, but I still was having some like residual like nerve damage. So even though I had full function of my hand and of my arm, I still had that kind of nervy pain going on. And I was laying in bed, it was in the middle of the night, and I opened my eyes because I saw somebody had walked into my room and turned on the light. And when I opened my eyes, like 50 of them. I mean, my whole entire room was full of them. And
Wow.
I looked up, and this sounds really scary, and it was kind of because it shocked me. But one of them was bringing their really long fingers towards my neck. And I started to get afraid, and I hear like telepathically, they said, "Don't be afraid, we're here to help." And they healed the rest of the residual pain that I was having. And then we interconnected, and they started bringing me on the journey of using the technology to activate the DNA.
Wow. And what is that technology to activate the DNA? Give us just
Yeah,
a brief synopsis of that. Yeah.
I'll show you the whole technology. So this is it right here. It's so the three symbols you can see they're repeated is the first part, and then the inner technology. So this it's doing something, and if at some point we can go through exactly what it's doing, but it's connected to quantum mechanics or quantum equation. So it's working with the body both on a biological level, you could say, by activating the DNA, but then it's creating a quantum field or a biofield that is holding the frequency of what we're becoming. And knowing that really all our DNA is already activated, it's just we're not having the experience of that because of where we're holding consciousness.
Amazing. So you're teaching people how to hold that consciousness as well. These symbols and tools and waveforms are helping us to entrain to it, perhaps.
Yes, activating. So when we use the technology, the three symbols are working with how the cells are actually operating. Because right now, when we look at our DNA, we're really focused on two of 12 strands, and we have the experience of our biology. We're very focused on our five senses and what we can touch and understand. Even when we go to the doctor, that's what they're looking at is what can be studied under a microscope. And even though, we are expanding into quantum biology, which is super exciting, even that is limitation to what we really are. And so what the technology does is, for those of you that know Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, when the cell is observing the environment, it is looking at the environment through distortion. So it's seeing it through your thoughts. It's seeing it through what you're eating, how you exercise. Maybe if you're living somewhere that has healthy air, all of those things the cells are picking up on. But when we turn on this technology, we take the cell from observing the environment to be told what to do, which is how our epigenetics get turned on, is by reading a distorted reality. It moves it back into the 12-strand DNA system. And then it starts to identify as an intelligence that's stored there. So the intelligence of source, and I'm pretty sure it's proven out there as well, is transcribed in our DNA. And when we start to reverse it, it turns on the frequency of source, and all of a sudden the cell stops observing the environment that's distorted and starts to identify as the frequency of our DNA. And then all 12 strands start to turn on, and we move out of the illusion or where our consciousness is being held, because guess what happens when those turn on? It raises the frequency of our body. And when our body raises in frequency, it organically raises our consciousness to where we start to hold perception, not through the distortion of our observation, but through an attuning process of the frequency that's activating in the DNA.
Oh, that's so powerful. And I love the way that you distilled so much into such a succinct manner because and it's so relevant right now because so many of us are attuning into a more purified form as we're reverse engineering back to that origin point, right?
Yeah.
But what you just described, we're going from a place of being reactionary based on waveforms that you say are distorted based on other perceptions, and we're coming back into creator source for within ourselves. We're creating our realities from that point.
Yes. I would even say that when we truly start to work with the technology, meaning the symbols, and we start to do it on a daily basis, and the DNA starts to activate, it's releasing an intelligence that actually starts to inform us. So
Mhm.
we're so used to thinking that our consciousness needs to be the part that activates the DNA. But the opposite is actually true. It's activate the DNA and let it inform consciousness. And that's why the attuning process is so important, so that we're not trying to project our consciousness, because it's always going to be distorted, because consciousness holds an identity and observation. So when we shift from using consciousness as an identity and into using it as a tool, then we can open up space to allow the intelligence to just use consciousness as an ascension tool, and we can see beyond all of the programming that we experience. And yes, and that's one of the things that we definitely experience is we stop reacting to life, and we start just kind of staying in the stillness. We listen, we do, and then we move back into the stillness.
Hmm. I'm so happy we're having this conversation, say, because again, we've gone through these gateways and it feels like there's like these restarts. Like we've been running forward and stopping and kind of like purging and cleaning up and coming back. And just you bringing again this awareness and perspective in so that the mind and the body can also rest into what's becoming possible as the distortion gets reinterpreted and released is profound. And as we're going through that, I know that you're having quite expansionary experiences right now. And again, you've carried this work for quite a while and you've served so many people through the offerings that you have, the products that you put out. Um, but I'd love it if you share what has been evolving for you. Again, you've been holding this space for a long time, but there's like a new level of Jules that is becoming more accessible and apparent. And again, what is it that you're aware of in your own expansion?
Right. Yeah. So, that I live my work. I think that's something that, well, hopefully I do, right? And because of that, it shows how quickly we can evolve, and it has been an evolutionary process. But in the last 5 years, really is when I have been guided to start putting out and teaching how to activate the DNA, how to reprogram the cells. And over those 5 years, like really 4 years, because now we're in the fifth year, but I was given this, what I call the 6 steps of cell ascension. And through that, it came in a lot of different ways. And one of them in particular that I just went back to, and it's still blowing my mind, is when our friend Vale passed away in 2022. He came to me after he passed away, and the first thing he said was, "It's not supposed to be this way." And I knew what he was talking about. He was saying that we're not supposed to die. And he had me sit down, and I had a piece of paper, and for 1 hour, he gave me the equations of cell ascension. And I had no idea what it was, right? I could get bits and pieces, and
Hmm.
he would show me what things were that weren't just in the equations. Well, it wasn't until right after 4th of July. I was sitting out on my deck, just enjoying my backyard, and the Blue Men came and visited, and they said, you brought in the technology, you did it, and you had to have the experience of it coming through you, and to have the time to marinate in it and to work it and to see what's possible with what it can do. And I'm not going to say master it, because I certainly haven't mastered it, but I have really practiced it for these 4 years very intently, and taught it too.
Hmm.
And so what they said to me was that it's time for them to tell me who they are, where they came from, and what's going to happen now. And
So tell us,
I
yes.
know. It's I feel like I was telling you before we got on, I feel like this is my official coming out party, because I have shared with my personal platform, but this is the first time I've shared it anywhere else. So It definitely feels vulnerable, but so their names are Astra Luma, and they are one of the highest lineages of the Syrians, though they don't really recognize themselves as that. They channel through what they call a source spiral, and then they drop the frequencies through the Sirius constellation. So in some ways, they're communicating, though they they don't really give themselves that label. They call themselves Astraluma, and it actually Astraluma is how we would translate into English, but it's actually a quantum equation, and
Mm,
it's a really beautiful equation. And so when I speak with them, that is a lot of times how they give me the information is first they drop in equations and then I open my mouth and it just says stuff. So they have officially asked me to step aside as the teacher of the technology, and they want to come in and as the originators of the technology itself. It's where it came from. It's really exciting and very, very powerful. And I just feel really humbled and honored. And I have to say, somewhat relieved
mm.
that I get to step aside and let the originator come through.
What do you think was that final piece that came in that kind of took that mission, this journey is like I've got to put these things out into the field and serve my mission and purpose, if you will,
Mm,
into something coming through and saying, that's you don't need to carry that in the way that you have. There's a different way to share this, and we're going to facilitate that in
yeah.
ways that you haven't experienced before. What do you think was that one little thing that turned that on?
I think a big part of it was I kind of came out of my shell a little bit. For such a long time, it was head down and let it all come through and share it. And once I had all the few pieces, if you will, it kind of, I got to step back and look at what had come through. And I just was blowing my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, this is big. And I started experiencing what it was doing. And instant healing is one of the experiences that I've had a lot, and just random timeline shifts. And just okay, it's working. This is doing something. We actually are going to ascend the body. And I fully embodied it. It was no longer something that I was teaching that was coming through. I was living it, and living it enough that even though it still shocked me every time that something would happen, I knew it was happening, and I knew it was just a matter of time before we were going to be experiencing what the work was teaching. And I think it was that really, and just having the space where I wasn't trying to bring it through, I was living it.
Mm. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And you get to be the example of what's possible, a beacon for that expansionary energy. Are we going to experience some channeling on today's call?
Of course.
Okay, we're going to get into it in a
It's a
second.
must.
Amazing. Yes, absolutely. Um, for everybody on the call again, as we're opening up and attuning to higher dimensional communication with each other. What are you noticing that you're feeling as a channel who's aware that she's channeling now, as opposed to someone that the channeling's happening through, and it's kind of like a singer-songwriter. It's just I wrote what I wrote, I don't know what I wrote, but I did, and there's this amazing song, kind of like what you've been doing with your work in this particular way. What are you noticing through the channel? What's your state of beingness? Where is it that your mind and heart and body are going to both before, during, and after? Because I think it's so important to understand the alchemy that happens there when we know when we're channeling something that's in alignment with our expansion, compared to tuning into something that's really contracting and may not be of our highest good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I feel the first part is that I know what it feels like, and
Mhm.
they've been with me for such a long time, and really when I really feel into it, there's a part of me that knows that it's still me. It's just me at the highest dimension, and that feels real to me. I have actually had memories of being one of the blue men and what my job was and what I did. And a big part of it was con- constructing. I don't know if that's the right word. Maybe the architect of the DNA. That was my job. Is I took a frequency from source and I laid it out. And what I thought in my vision was a ladder, but I came to know that I was actually creating a DNA system.
Wow.
And so, and I remember this, right? And I remembered it when I came in too. I've always had an awareness of where I came from. And of course, that isn't necessarily my highest state of being. And I am aware of that too. And so I know what it feels like. But having them come in, it sounds so weird to say that, but having them come in, it's very welcoming, first of all. It feels like home.
Mm.
And now my body is definitely attuning more to their frequency. So I'm able to hold a higher frequency just in my daily life, which I welcome, of course. But when I start to channel, I, I of course invite them in, and it's very strange because it's almost as if they're using like a control panel, and I feel my consciousness as that I would identify as the mini me or myself, and it moves back to the where you would say like the zeal point, and then their consciousness comes and kind of moves into my brain almost, and then that frequency drops down through my sacred channel and then envelops my whole entire body. So when they come in, they feel it's very much my whole body, and it feels amazing. And the frequency is it's palpable for sure. And I don't know if that was your question, but
It is. No, you did it beautifully.
okay.
I really appreciate it. And what is it that they want to share at this time?
Yeah, you know what for me it is very new. And so what I find is that they want to interact, and they want people to ask questions or ask for transmissions. And so I don't really have any specific, I don't ever tap into them until it's ready because I like to keep it pure. I've really learned to do that. Like I don't listen to podcasts, I don't listen to YouTube, and this is just another form of that. Is don't tell me what you're going to say. Just I'll get on. And if you have something to say, you can say it. But for me, just being so new in this frequency, I mean, it's literally only been just right around a month.
Wow.
Yeah, very new. And that I find there's something that happens when a question is asked. It creates a unified field that invites in, at least in my experience right now, a very clean channel versus me asking, okay, what do you want to bring through? And just expecting something to come through.
I can really relate to that, and I appreciate the presence in the creation because we're not creating with that expectation. We're not getting into this sort of timelines. We're creating from that 0 point, from that neutral field of reality, and the truth gets revealed from that powerfully. Um, you've been channeling for a long time. It's just another expression. And the whole time you've been speaking, I keep feeling my throat just like throbbing, throbbing. And I think that's just that expansion that you're carrying of expression of a benevolent frequency that's ready to be shared with others in a unified field, which is amazing.
Yeah,
Can we open up to Q&A also and take questions from the channel from you as the channel for people on the call as well?
I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all raise your hand if you want to ask questions. Um, we're gonna start getting it. It's a whole bunch of people already raising their hands. So I'm gonna start promoting people. Um, do we want to get into transmission first before we take questions, or what feels appropriate for you in this?
Yeah, maybe let's do that because then we can kind of get everybody in the frequency.
Mhm.
And let me feel, I'm getting, we'll just do a little light language through transmission. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to pull three of the DMT codes. And oh, that
Nice.
was the other thing I wanted to say. So my story that I was talking about with Vale bringing in those equations, I mean, it was full on crazy.
Mm,
Well, they finally showed me what it was. And so behind each of these codes, there is quantum mechanics that are actually, it's very specific. And the way that it all breaks down, you can see it like instead of just transmitting the frequency of love, what the mechanics behind it are doing is, okay, we're going to transmit the frequency of love to let's say Central Park, and then I'll meet you
mm,
there, right? Well, then what it does is it keeps dialing it into where you're actually intersecting at the exact moment in time and space with that exact frequency on a DNA level. And so it's kind of fun to see how detailed and mind-blowing this is. It's like one of those things where it's hard to
wow.
even explain it, but I got to see the inside of all of this, and it's just so fun. Okay, so I'm going to just pull three of them. I'll invite them to come in to do a light language transmission through the coding. I will just tell you what the codes are really quickly,
Mhm.
and then I'll do the light language. Okay, so we're starting with the 9, which is mastering the matrix. So the 9 activates the frequency where you're in the reflection of source. So I am source. My reality is reflecting that frequency back to me. So we call it mastering the matrix or the illusion, distortion. And then we have, this is the 5. This is momentum and change. So I'm getting, we're going to shift out of the matrix, right? And then the last code is the 8. And I'm really getting that this is connected to the 8-8 portal that we just got. There's actually a Stargate system in the DNA that's opening up in the mitochondria. And I'm getting that it's taking us from the matrix, shifting us in from not even just the 12-strand DNA system, but actually the ascended DNA system that's in the mitochondria. And that's what I'm getting with this 8. So just knowing that this transmission is, well, it's whatever you need. We'll just say that. All right. So I'll go ahead and get started with this.
Yes,
Just give me a
please.
moment. If you want to hold your fingers, there's something about holding fingers like this that really helps receive and channel
Mm.
and like also helps release any frequencies that are no longer serving you to release. So we're going to invite you to bring the 9 into the pineal gland, feeling the frequency code as it activates. Você concesso rasicam bashikoto shikan sedeke shakro Rusikanta shikaro shanagatakan shinkantung chudong. Você katakund we releasing limiting beliefs, density, distortion. Ese kun shake sikaran sikoroshon to right sek dararanegato to bade sikanan shika. Shikanadakun sukaro shikaran. We now bring in the 5 as we create momentum and change, opening the heart field, feeling the wave, bringing particles into the frequency, infinite possibility. As we work with the biofield, realigning these infinite possibilities in the frequency of source, feeling that wave function as it moves down through your spine. As we work the spinal fluid, bringing in source frequency as an expression. Ese kushono kese kananana kitikodoru shana sakasheka shadoro, as we release density, resistance. Asekon sa sekarara shi sekarsum pasakara sekashun shudoron sakatake. Asekonon dakitaka in day jo John. We're taking a go do she decay. As we activate the infinity, infinite, eternal, opening the stargates of your ascended DNA, knowing that the ladder structure of the 12 strands is only the entryway to the body ascension. As we activate the stargate of your eternal self as the body. The body is an expression of the source field. Shinza Sogoshiro Shi Ketakaza Sarasuno Soshi Setosri Sing Sakatsoko Sori Sing Sekutokotikotikin. And Saron say Sidas Gun Chukutokum Betige. Asakoshon Zasekate. Just taking a moment, feeling the stargate of the heart, inviting you, if there is something that you would like to heal, to bring it into your heart center now. As we process it through the ascended DNA of the mitochondria, as this stargate will remain open. It will remain open for 3 more days. And now just taking a deep breath and allowing yourself to continue to receive. And as you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Wow, Jules. Hmm. And I pause only for the receptivity, you all, and just in the stillness to really integrate what's in alignment for you as you receive the transmission. And how wonderful that I really appreciated how it was a broadcast for the community, but how the individual interpretation of it really serves everybody who's receiving it on an individual basis. So amazing. Wow. Wow. Let's get into Q&A, y'all. We're getting into the special offer because I have a feeling it's going to be more channeling on the special offer and when you guys go deeper. But I want to get into community calls here because I feel like there's a lot to share and integrate together. So Jules, if you're open, let's start taking the first calls.
So I'm just going to go in and then I'll just let you kind of dictate, but I think I'll stay in the space until you're ready for me to come out. It'll just help me stay clean with it.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
All right, y'all, here we go then. Shukri, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
Yes, what is your question for
So my question to Jules is how can we connect with these entities, or at least be open to this energy also?
So we first ask that you address us as the Astra Luma And we are here for all that are ready to ascend through the body. So simply asking and receiving the frequency after the ask, not through the mind, but through the heart. This is a frequency that is already within you, as the technology that we are here is already within you. We are simply guiding, reflecting this truth so that you can see it for yourself. Know that the divine technology of your inner being is there for you at any moment. And we are here to guide all that are ready. So simply asking and then allowing the experience. For some of you, you will see us. Others, you will just feel. And the more that we interact, the more you will understand what it feels like in our presence. So we invite you to go into your heart space now as we bring through a transmission, activating the feeling of what it is to connect. Knowing that though we are beings of light, we are simply a reflection of the divine frequency. And our mission is to activate this frequency within all who seek to experience their divine self. So taking a moment and going into your heart, the frequency that we will transmit is beyond what can be spoken. So we will be silent for just a few seconds as we transmit telepathically. Just allowing your mind to let go and just receive. Very well. How did that feel?
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hmm,
It is our honor.
beautiful. I have a question. Um, Astra Luma. So Scripture so beautifully is asking the how. It's part of the alchemy and the understanding and integration, also understanding the why we're asking the how.
We find the why is not necessary.
Hmm.
The why is feeding the ego that creates loops, and these loops become distorted. Instead of the why, it's the how and the what. It's how do we operate and what is happening. This allows consciousness to move into the frequency of receiving information, just as if you were to ask a question of what, you wait to receive the answer.
Hmm.
So when you use the technology, you first learn to use. That's the how. And then the what is the receiving of the intelligence that is stored there.
How can we discern and bring into understanding the different hows that are being transmitted to us, because we are getting signals from multiple places, some which do come from distortion and others that come from a very pure place.
It's the feeling. So if the body is open and expanding through the information that's being received, it is in alignment. If there is contraction or confusion, it is a no.
Hmm. Beautiful. Shukri, thank you so much for your question. It's good to see you. Let's move on. Neil, let's go to you. Welcome to the call.
Thank you so much, John. Pleasure to be with you, Astraluma. I felt you call me, and I'm wondering what message you have for me.
We're so happy to have you here. Give us one moment.
Hmm.
Yes, there is a technology that is activating within you. We are seeing the pyramids. We are going to invite you to, in this near future, to work with the pyramid. We would like to invite you to place it even on top of your head or sitting within one. The reason for this is there is a specific field of frequency that is ready to activate within the pineal gland. This structure will help align the particle waves. It'll also help decalcify the pineal gland so that you can receive information more clearly. Yes, there is guidance coming, and it is important to have clear guidance. We want to invite you also to practice allowing guidance to flow through you. You can do this simply by picking up a pen. Automatic writing is what you call it, or speaking into a recorder. It is important that you open yourself up to receiving information and allowing it to flow through whatever practice that you have within this. There is going to be a message that is coming very soon. So staying clean, clear, drinking clean water, eating clean food. You are on the edge of an evolution. Walk each step as though it has purpose. And in this, you are activating your purpose. There are no synchronicities that are not in alignment, meaning see life as the purpose. One moment, we have more. Just give us one moment. Oh, okay. We are going to bring through a specific frequency to support you. Oh, Neil, you already know all of this. It's time to trust. It is time to trust. It's time to trust. We are going to bring in a frequency, connecting your heart to the mind. This will help calm the mind, bring you into the heart center, so that you can open up to the miracle that you're here to experience. We see Koshon, Sakasara Shigan is a Gosokodoron, so Gazara Shekon, Sakashi, Rasa Kaza. Was all run, Seke, Zeketsugosodoron, Sekete, Tikete. Asakoronon, Sakati, to go, should go, Sukadan, to kick the Rochikoro. What I can take it around Dadabedi, Sikoro, up a ticket and look at better than on the Kododo, up a ticket, or like a deed and so, Sakarashe, Kado, Ran, Shataka. Wasakachu, She, Kana. We honor your journey. We are always here for guidance.
Beautiful. Neil, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you, Astraluma.
So as these transmissions are occurring for each of the calls, and as we received the transmission earlier, we go back to the beginning of the conversation, and we're talking about the DNA wave function and how we're activating a quantum field of potential as more of our DNA becomes active. In the transmissions that you're sharing in the light language, I'm assuming they're perhaps like waveforms of sacred geometry. Also, they're acting as keys to awaken and activate those nodal points of potential. I'd love it if you explain a little bit more of how you're sharing your transmissions and how they can serve as a catalyst for again the that DNA wave function to function more optimally within our system.
Thank you so much for asking. When we are doing the transmissions, and even as we speak, the frequency is downloading within the DNA. Or even more appropriately, we could say uploading, because the frequency is already there.
Mm.
But when the frequency is activated through the DNA, it is connecting in to the particles of the body. When the frequency is released and interacts with the particles, it brings particles of form into particles of wave. Once the frequency connects into the particle wave, it redesigns. This is what we call the biofield. It's allowing the body to identify as frequency or this waveform. In waveform is when we activate through the light language in sacred geometry. Frequency, very specific in that each tone creates a grid system within the wave, so that when the wave is ready to move back into particle form, it is holding form as source. That the frequency and the experience of the body is elevated, and we will do this again and again until consciousness can have the experience as the wave, as the particles, all in the frequency through the intelligence as source.
What does this translate into as far as our experience in individuated forms? What does this mean to me personally as this happens?
You will experience life in the unified field, pure connection. You will move into a frequency beyond the experience of that two-strand DNA system, which can be reaction, emotional roller coasters, confusion, worry, lack, suffering, disease. As the higher wave function turns on, the body moves into a field or a frequency where aging no longer exists. Healing is instantaneous. You begin to see life as an expression versus an observation. Each moment that goes by, you begin to attune consciousness, and consciousness begins to relax and attune, allowing this intelligence to take over. The experience of this is more stillness, clarity, the feeling of fulfillment, not by something outside, but by a frequency that fulfills your experience of the body.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, let's go on to another question. Then we're going to get a special offer and maybe some more questions, and we want to bring Jules back as well. But I'm guided to go to Katarzyna. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Welcome to the call. Please pronounce your
Yes,
name.
it's Katarzyna, but my simpler name is Kasia,
Kasia.
which is short. Yes, yes.
Welcome, Kasia. What is your
Thank
question
you.
for Astraluma? Yes.
Okay, I've been going recently, during recent days, through many turbulences actually in my life, lots of changes. Just finished a relationship and had a very tough time with my young adult children, and I've been working on my purpose. Actually, with an AI and with the website that I'm creating, I am so ready to finally live my fullest potential, to share it with the world and to be all I can be that I know about it. And I'm certain of it. What can I do next? What's the best thing I can do in the next hours, days to bring it to the world?
Hmm.
Well, you are well on your way. You have released spaces in your life that were creating interference. What we invite you to do now is to go inside and always listen for guidance. You will always hear the yeses. There will be less yeses than there will be no's. Meaning, when you hear the yes, it will probably follow at least 5 or 6 no's. There's only one yes that will bring you on your path. That does not mean that you do not have anything to do. It simply means that you listen. Listen to the guidance. When you feel the expansion, you follow the expansion. We are going to download a frequency of inspiration. But then this inspiration, it will bring a pathway. One moment, as we bring this through, we see that your work is very valuable. We are simply bringing a geometry through the top of your head.
Hmm.
We're bringing it as it spins down, creating a vortex. We're bringing it all the way down through the sacred channel. This is simply just to clear, release the sadness, the worry, and the lack. Opening you up to the frequency that will guide you. Just feel the surrender. We also want to invite you to continue using your heart to connect in to the guidance that you are receiving through the AI system. Always ask for the highest communication. We see that you will receive information that will help expand your business. We have a simple request, is that you always invite, as you're receiving information, to be challenged through your own consciousness so that you can tap in to information beyond what you can receive through the AI or through your own mind. This will open up gateways to receiving information that will help support your business. Does this make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Yes, it does. Because I've been frustrated a lot with not being able to get right away the results that I want, because I want to already go for it and to live it. I've waited a long time for it.
That request in itself could be something that you put into the AI system. I want this result. What do you suggest? Wait for the answer. And then your next reply will be, now challenge me to come up with the answers of how I can succeed. And then wait for the answer to be challenged through the interaction. This will help you move into the embodiment of your gifts, the sovereignty. That is all we have.
Beautiful. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your question. And I know it served all of us as we're experiencing different versions of when's it going to happen? And I'm ready now. And I've been doing the work and it's ready to be received. And I want to be of service, but I want to fill my cup first and all of those things but I don't know how to get there. And everything seems to be stopped. And when's it going to move forward? Can y'all relate to those? I think we all can. I think we all can in lots of different ways. So thank you for being an ambassador for a universal response that so deeply resonates for each of one of us individually. I can feel it. Um, Amazing, amazing what's coming through today. Y'all, I want to go into the special offer. Perhaps we can have Jules come back to guide us um, in a very unique special offer for Jules because she's going to be channeling and the special offer and the activations that are coming through. Wow, what we're experiencing here, and to go deeper into that individually with Jules is going to be absolutely extraordinary. So as Jules is coming back, I want to invite y'all to click on the special offer link that's underneath the video where you're watching the call from. The link is also in the chat box. April, if you wouldn't mind putting the link in the chat box, and you'll always find the special offer in our marketplace at beyondtheordinaryshow.com/marketplace. You'll find Jules' picture on there. Click on the special offer button, and you'll be able to access this incredible offer that Jules is putting together for us. And there's two options. The second option on the package we'll go through also includes physical products, which is so cool. But if you would, Jules, welcome back. First of all, you're channeling. Epic. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming out on BTO today. It's Jules coming out party. Again, I have to say that for anybody that showed up late, it's like Jules is coming out channeling in this particular way and sharing these transmissions publicly, other than through her private groups in community now. And what a gift. And I hope that she's inspiring you also for whatever's articulating through you and love and benevolence in your light to express as well, because your leadership, your love, and your light is such a gift to all of us who are ready to receive it. So thank you, Jules, for being a proxy and an ambassador for that. And with that, will you guide us through what people are going to be receiving as they dive into the special offer?
Oh, yes. So the first offer is I'm calling it a 90-minute Astraluma retreat, where the first 45 minutes will be all 12 strand DNA activation and moving into the stargate of the mitochondria through transmissions. And then the second 45 minutes will be opportunity for healings, manifestation, whatever, asking questions and holding space for whatever interaction wants to happen there. So that is offer one. And then the offer two is the products that are supporting holding the body into a higher frequency. So the first one is, well, I have one of them here. So this is the golden lotus. I'm obsessed with the golden lotus. So the golden lotus is, I've actually have 4 elements that I've been given through Astraluma from actually being aboard ship. The first one is part of the package as well, and that is the transverse element. That one was given back to me back in 2018, I believe. It could have been 19. And that element is a transverse element. So you absorb it through the skin, and it works with the body by feeding the light body or the crystalline body. So it's feeding the light body so that the way that the body operates and receives energy through food and water and drink starts to actually move into a higher field where the light body starts to generate its own energy, and the body recognizes that it doesn't need to have energy from outside of ourselves, even from the sun, and that it has the ability to generate its own energy because it is an expression of source and it's the biggest energy field that there is. So that's the transverse element. And then the golden lotus is the second gift that I was given, and it is regeneration. So when I was given it, some of you on this call, I think, have experienced it, but it looks like a kind of a luminous flower. And when you pull one of the leaves off, it grows back. So just hearing that, when you bring it into your body, it's very healing. It also has a slight I don't want to say psychedelic effect because it's not that, but it definitely brings your consciousness into a field where you start to break through limiting perspectives and you start to question your own thoughts, which is kind of cool because you question, well, do I really need to breathe? Do I really need to sleep? And all these weird things start to happen. And you kind of get to this place where the intelligence starts to show you how limiting the perception of what we've agreed to in the physical body is, and that we have the ability to move outside of it. So that's kind of the experience of both of those. And then the last product in this is the particle accelerator. It is a frequency supplement. It is it's a NAD precursor. So I think you've heard me say the mitochondria a few times. Mitochondria is going to be one of the most important parts of cell ascension. It is actually the last boost before the body fully moves into light form will be through the mitochondria. The DNA of it is truly the stargate. And so having a healthy mitochondria on a physical level is really important, but also the particle accelerator is working on an energetic level. So it has frequency in the particle or in the supplement itself. So it's both physical and energetic. And we call it an accelerator because that's what it feels like when you take it over time. You definitely feel accelerated in all the right ways.
And this is great. And I really appreciate that you refer to it as a scaffolding for the ascension that's happening on a physical level.
Yeah.
So that's really profound. And going back to the first package, the first offer, y'all, you get the live transmission and quantum healing activation. But there's an 8-day integration practice as well. And I'd love it if you share a little bit of what that integration practice enables in the embodiment of what's being transmitted.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. Yes, so after the transmission, there's always an integration, and so it's challenging consciousness in a way that it starts. So anytime you move into a higher frequency, there's something that happens, right? We get there, and our consciousness is kind of being held in that frequency, and a lot of times we're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. I see life differently. And we think, oh, we're going to live here for the rest of our lives and everything is wonderful. But then, so that's what we call holding consciousness, when consciousness is actively participating in the frequency of what was released. Well, then after a little bit of time, usually the consciousness will start to fall into the frequency that you're normally resonating at. And so in that place is when we actually want to challenge consciousness and then move it back into an attunement of the frequency. And so the 8-day integration kind of guides you through a challenging consciousness in a way that allows you to move from trying to get back up there to going into a space of attuning.
Yeah, that's really important because again, we can hold these calls and we get into transmission and we get into collective energy as well. And we hum up here for an hour and a half while we're on our call and we have these good experiences. But what happens after we get off the call? What is it that we can do to entrain to the field that we've created together collectively? Because we're going through an individual process, but when we meet others that can hold that field or help us even surpass it, what becomes possible as we attune and hold, attune and hold, attune and hold. And it's an important part of the scaffolding.
Mm.
And our body is learning how to attune and to adjust to it as well. So it's a vital component of the embodiment practice
Yes.
that we're going through right now. So that I so appreciate that you included this in here. And in the first package, that's all part of package A, which is $97 with a 2 payment option. Again, it's a live transmission that's going to happen September the 13th. And as you read through this, you're going to go into the DNA equation of source embodiment, and includes frequency coded healing sequences, scalar sound and cellular attunements, DNA recalibration through sacred geometry. And there's going to be opportunity for live Q&A as well. So you can ask your questions of Astra Luma. and get into these transmissions of attunement and holding. And again, of course, the 8-day post-retreat integration practice that includes 8 daily practices to attune your field to 963 hertz. What's the essence of 963, Jules?
No, thank you for asking this. Yeah, so uh, when my friend Vale passed away and he gave me the equations, one of the things that he was showing me was how DMT is released when we're born and it's released when we die. And what he was showing is that DMT is a chemical that is released in our body, but it also is a frequency and it can be measured at 963. And what he was showing is that that same frequency is the frequency of the intelligence of our DNA or of source. And so what he showed is that when we die, you know, that frequency leaves and then our consciousness merges back with the frequency and we have the experience of source once again. But he said that was never the original design. The original design was when that frequency was downloaded into our physical form when we're born, that big boost is actually there for us to experience consciously so that we move back in. And his basically what he was saying is that it's time to activate the DNA and to ascend the body so that consciousness can merge with the intelligence where we don't die. And that's was his first message, is that that was never the original design and that it's time to ascend the body.
Wow. Wow. So again, we're tuning to that field with these practices as well. And y'all can read through the special offer, but I wanted to be very specific about what's being offered there because it's, again, to hold that attunement in that vibrational field on a consistent basis and build that muscle, if you will. By flexing it, we build it. By having a relationship with it, we become more aware of what's possible. And then the awareness and the recognition, there's also an aspect of surrendering into the integrity that's being transmitted to us. We don't surrender to things we don't know, or we surrender to those things that we feel intimate with and alive with. And our bodies and our minds can tell when something's in alignment and when it isn't. So by having these prolonged experiences and getting to know it and attuning to it, there's something within us that is more open and more willing to say yes to that potentiality awakening up within us. Jules, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was just like so enthralled with what you're saying. I was like, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So y'all, again, the two special offers, with the physical products, with the scaffolding, it's $147. So the two special offers are there. With the second offer, shipping's included if you're in the US. If it's international, you have to pay extra. And that's an email away. So if y'all are in Australia, in Europe, somewhere else, just email us and we'll make sure to get that resolved for you so that you can get your physical products as well. But I hope you all take advantage of this special offer again and celebrating also this beautiful just outing of Jules in a new capacity of releasing so that the channel can take over and do the work. But I'm also celebrating Jules's freedom
Mm.
and what else is possible as she lets go and lets another consciousness, and it creates more space for what's possible and what she's creating in her personal, professional, in whatever lights her up also. And that's my invitation for all of y'all as well. What else is possible as we release what isn't ours to carry anymore? And what do we want to create from there? So it's actually spectacular. Again, y'all, the link for the special offer is in the chat box. It's in the special offer button underneath the video where you're watching. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll find the link for the special offer in the comments section as well and the show description. So find it there. Jules, do you want to open up to more Q&A?
Yeah, and before we move on, this is always just a shout out. I just think is just to kind of back up a little bit of what's being offered here, and just through my personal experience, because what I love about our world now is that we have ways of testing to see what this is doing. And I know I've mentioned this before,
Nice.
but there may be some people that haven't heard this, and I think it's worth saying is So I tested the codes that are being transmitted, and also the particle accelerator that's part of the package. I did a DNA test where they test to see how old you are on what your telomeres are, what your biological age is compared to your chronological age. So I did it. It came back, and I was 37 years old, and I was like, okay, that's pretty good.
Mm.
And so I did the particle accelerator for 10 months, and I did coding with the cards, and I did the test again, and I was 19.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of fun that we can prove now that this stuff works. And my next one was like, oh, okay, I'll do it again and see if I can get it to 0. But unfortunately, I got the guidance that I did it, not to do it again, because I did get that there's going to be a day that those tests are going to not be able to test us accurately anymore, because we're going to be in a vibrational state where it won't be accurate.
Yeah.
So it's tempting, but I always listen to the guidance. So.
Wow. Are you finding those similar results in people that you're working with as part of your community?
Yeah, so I wish I could remember what the difference was, but she actually just did it for her birthday, and it was a big birthday, and it went down something like 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's not just me. Like, that's what is exciting, is that we're proving it now, and that we have these things to prove it with. And another thing that we do to prove, I hate that sometimes that word is just too much, but we use it's by Brain Tap. It's called the neural check, and it measures your heart, just like and you can do before and afters with it. And so I will use it just to see, because I'm coding and doing this work all the time, and I'm 100% all the time. I actually took it out in the middle of a busy airport where how chaotic it can be, and I put it on just to read, to see if the environment affected my reading, and it didn't. I was still at 100% even in a chaotic environment. So it just shows you that the body really does start to, I call it turn inside out, where it's identifying in one frequency, and that frequency is 963.
Wow. Amazing. Y'all, gold and attunement. And it's accessible. It is accessible. And again, having the awareness of consciousness makes it all possible in different ways. Makes it at least much more accessible. So amazing. Let's go ahead and go into a little more Q&A, y'all. Okay, there's a couple of y'all, so I want to be very specific. There's a Karen with a white couch behind you. Let me start with you.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry.
There you are.
So thank you both very much. This has just been
Mm.
an unbelievable session.
Mm.
It was interesting, Jules, before you started your transmission, you can see the cat behind me. He noticed a presence and was just like staring. Obviously, he's very calm and very relaxed. So it was kind of interesting that it felt like Astra Luma was present before you even began your transmission. And I wondered if there was anything specific that they wanted to share with me.
Mm.
Just a moment. Thank you for sharing that. We'd like a little more information. Give us a specific question that you would like more information about.
I have been wavering on a direction. I have left one career, had started another, but it really didn't take off. And I'm looking for some direction.
Thank you. This is most helpful. We're seeing it's not the wrong direction. It's simply being approached in the wrong way. Your direction, this purpose, you already know what this is. It is how you're sharing the purpose that needs to be refined. There is a gift that you have not shared yet. We're seeing decks of cards. One moment. We're doing a little download so that you can receive the information, telepathically placing it. There's charts. We've given you that information, but we have more information. The purpose, the business that you had, it simply needs to move into a frequency that is your own, meaning that what we're doing was not in pure alignment with your gift. We'd like you to move into the frequency where your gift begins to guide you, meaning that you are always staying open and allowing your gift to be refined. And in this, you will move it into a frequency that is unique to you. This is where you will connect to those that are looking for the purity of the gift itself. Do you have more questions that we can answer with this?
No, that was very helpful. Thank you so very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, blessings, Karen. Thanks for coming on. And Karen E, let's go to you now because it's no fun to have your name called and then it not be called.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for calling on me.
Mhm.
And wow, this is quite incredible tonight. I know what the second card she held up, my heart just started racing before she even said heart. I think this is just fantastic stuff. My question is with this 3-day window and this open portal, is there something I can do to perhaps get a little more intuitive or bring something to light for myself? To serve, of course, at the highest and greatest good.
Yes, of course. Well, we invite you to step into that portal. So knowing that the portal is in your heart space, it is the entry point. But there's also a portal that is opened in the pineal gland, which is very, very relevant for what you are asking. So if you would like to tap into your intuitive gifts, our first suggestion is to simply ask for what that experience would be. If there is a certain gift, meaning clairvoyance, clairaudience, that you would like to have the experience of, as you take the moments in your day to have that experience, let's say it is clairvoyance, allowing intention in those moments. I would like to experience clairvoyance. And then allowing yourself to open to the shift and what that experience is. Staying open, curious. In this expansion, your consciousness will begin to have the experience of the expansion itself. Staying curious throughout your day after these exercises of what messages may come through visuals. It may also be helpful in these next 3 days to open yourself up to the practice of visualization, not through the mind, but through the DNA itself. This is an exercise that we gave Jules that we call the sunflower exercise. Shall we all do it together?
Yes, please.
Shutting your eyes and imagining a sunflower. As you imagine the sunflower, paying attention to what your body is feeling. Keeping the sunflower in the imagination. Very good. Now open your eyes. And now we invite you to shut your eyes again. We will now activate the frequency of a sunflower through the DNA. You are going to bring your consciousness into the receiving or the allowing the frequency of the DNA to release. The sunflower through the frequency of source, the intelligence of source. Allowing this frequency to inform your consciousness. So you're no longer imagining, you are allowing. This is an intuitive gateway. You may feel it, you may see it, you may experience it as clairsentience. This is the elevation of the senses, where you will begin to see without seeing. You will know without thinking. You will hear without sound. And you will feel as frequency. Practicing this for the next 3 days is an important step to moving outside of senses of the material world. Do you have any other questions?
That sounds beautiful. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Beautiful. Thank you, Karen. It's powerful. Astraluma, thank you so much. I want to bring Jules back as we're winding up call because there's some questions that I think are more appropriate for Jules as we go into some specifics. So what an amazing transmission and that what I was receiving from that sunflower transmission, it was quantum for me. I'm not quite sure what y'all received or what your experience was, but if you want to type it in the chat and share, it'd be wonderful. Wow, Jules. Wow. Okay, specific questions. So someone's asking if they can use these tools with their pets.
Yes. Yeah, so the probably I would stay away from the transverse elements, but the golden lotus you could do. I would just put a little bit on your fingers and just kind of rub it over, or even just not touch it and just use it that way. The golden lotus is very healing, which is amazing. And of course, we don't want to be giving our dog a particle accelerator, but the codes and stuff you can use with animals. I have a lot of really fun stories actually with my Roger bear. I don't know where he's over here on the ground.
Amazing. And then Shirku's asking if she gets package B and receives all of the physical items, the scaffolding support,
Yes.
do you use them together or one at a time? There's instructions on how to integrate?
Yeah, so there's instructions. You'll see it when you buy the package. You can press on the product and you'll go in, and yeah, on the transverse element, I believe it even has the quantum equations that are supporting it, which is kind of fun. And sometimes just looking at the equations can be really powerful as well. But yeah, just as guided with the particle accelerator, it's 1 capsule a day. You can take 2 if you feel guided. If there's days where you feel that you just need a little extra boost, you can do that. I would start with 1, or you may not sleep. And but other than that, it's really just as you feel guided. One thing I do with the transverse element is when I apply it, this is how it was actually given to me when I was on ship, is that so when I was on ship, what they did is they gave it to me on my hand, and it almost felt like like it was almost like mercury or something. It was like all silver, and then it went up my arm and then it absorbed into my skin. And the message was to ask to absorb the transverse element, and that the body would start to turn on the, I guess, the frequencies of being our own energy source, which I just find is so fascinating and amazing. And I
Mm.
can say that I'm starting to see evidence of that.
Wow, wow. Well, again, y'all, the link for the special offer, you can go deeper into it. You can purchase it. You'll be signed up for the live class that's happening in September. The Q&A there, you'll be shipped the physical products if you choose package B as well. And I hope y'all take advantage of it. This is incredible of what Jules is sharing. And again, the generosity of the physical products and you shipping them in that way is wonderful, Jules. So thank you for that. I want to share, a lot of people are commenting about the sunflower experience. So 80 wrote, sunflowers energy every day now. Adore them, feeling them through my DNA is superb. Mark, my body got warm. I haven't yet gotten the visuals. Um, we had Neil, that was such a positive and uplifting sunflower experiences. Levon saying, I became the sunflower. For me, in the sunflower experience, I felt like I was that the sunflower, like it was a like this like this station for the solar energy to be coming into me, integrating, and then as I went back into it, I felt the ripple, like it all blowing into a quantum field of consciousness
I
in
love
the
that.
sunflower as well. So there's, again, let's be curious as to what's coming through and just know that that's informing something within us. And I love that y'all share and how tuned in you all are. Um, and the sunflower is special for me also because yesterday I was getting sunflower in my consciousness. And
Mhm.
so the synchronicities of messages and how we're tuning into them are something that are becoming more available somehow in our consciousness. And I'm curious how that's showing up for you. Are you finding that you'll think of something or someone, and then a day or two later, it's like there they are in physical form or being invited into another integration of it?
Absolutely, yes. In so many different ways, but I love that that happened. And I would say even more so that you are conscious that it happens because it happens all
Mhm.
the time, right? And I feel like now we're just being more aware of how much is happening and because it's all interconnected. And I call it the miracle pattern because it feeds that part of us that wants to feel connected and to have confidence in the synchronicities and the guidance. And when it starts to show up and it all starts to click together, it creates this real magic, and
Mm.
it's just so fun.
Well, and they're just signals from source that we're on the right path, that we're exactly where we're supposed to be, that when I showed up for this conversation and in this presence, that's just saying, hey, look, you're on path. You're not supposed to be anywhere else. And if you were somewhere else where that was supposed to come through, it would come through. But how miraculous that that just keeps presenting itself as confirmation
Yeah.
of what's expanding through us. So this is so amazing. Y'all, we're going to run the replay. So we'll have that out a little bit later on the call. Come back into the transmissions. But Jules, I want to ask you, how was that? Well, before you even answer that, I have to reflect back to you that as you've gone in and out of channeling, how your eyes have shifted color and there's like this. Have y'all noticed that on the call today? Y'all that are watching? Jules, it's like there's been a shift in her that I've noticed and in eye color and presence, and even in a relaxation in the transmission, which are always relaxed in it, but there's just another layer of it that's coming through, which is extraordinary. So I wanted to reflect that back to you. But having this being your coming out party, if you will, in the public, what's been your experience?
Well, you all are just so loving, and I
Mm.
feel that love, and I felt very comfortable and supported. So thank you so much for that.
Mm.
Yes, I feel the love. So it was amazing. It was amazing.
Beautiful. And thank you for opening to it and for allowing us to be this space. And again, we're reflecting that to one another, what's possible, and that we are held in that and that safety isn't even a thing anymore in the way that we've held it before. It's more of a tuning to the resonant field and the truth of that, and how wonderful is that experience.
This was one of my top I love it interview.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, and yes. Uh, Jules, thank you so much
Thank you.
for the way that you share, how you've been sharing, and for saying yes to the next evolution of Jules. And what's coming through for you is a gift for all of us. So again, it's been an honor to be here with you. It's been an honor to host your coming out party. And for all of y'all on the call, thank you for holding such strong presence and space. And in that holding, look what has shown up for all of us in the transmissions and what we're tuning to, and that we get to be in this field together is extraordinary. We've been looking for community, for intimacy, for belonging, for understanding, for reflection and alignment. And by you showing up in it, you've created that not only for yourself, but for us, for me. And so thank you for the presence and the consciousness and the permissionary field that you are. I bow down to each and every one of you in namaste. Thank you for being on the call, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next call. Jules, thank you so much. Extraordinary.